You've been carrying around the weight of what happened, the mistakes, the losses, the pain. And I get it, you're tired. You've fallen down more times than you can count, and part of you has started to believe this is just how life is going to be. But it doesn't have to be. Wake up to the truth that no one is coming to rebuild your life for you. It's your responsibility, your freedom, and your power. That's the sentence most people don't want to hear, but it's the one they need the most. Because for too long, too many of us have been waiting. Waiting for someone to come fix the mess. Waiting for someone to rescue us from the pain. Waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right person to magically appear and set everything straight. And that waiting becomes a trap. It makes us passive, it makes us dependent, and it convinces us that our healing, our progress, our success is in someone else's hands. But the truth is harder and better at the same time. No one is coming, no one is going to climb inside your life and put the broken pieces together for you. And if you can sit with that truth long enough, it becomes liberating instead of crushing, because it means you're not stuck waiting anymore. It means you don't need permission. It means you don't need saving. There's a power that comes with realizing your life is in your hands. At first, it feels heavy because responsibility always feels heavy. It means owning the part you played in where you are. It means admitting that blaming, pointing fingers, and rehashing the unfairness of the past won't rebuild anything. But that weight of responsibility also comes with a gift, because what you take responsibility for, you can also change. If it's yours, it's in your control. If it's in your control, you can do something about it. Freedom doesn't come from having no problems. It comes from realizing that the solutions are not locked in someone else's pocket. They're inside you. People underestimate how much power is hidden inside responsibility. Think about it. When you shift the mindset from, I hope somebody helps me, to, I'm going to help myself, your energy changes. Your posture changes. You stop waiting for doors to open and you start looking for keys, or better yet, you start building your own doors. That's when people around you start noticing a difference. They may not even be able to explain it, but they see it. They feel it. That spark of ownership, that fire of someone who knows this is their life, and they're not handing it over to anyone else. Of course, rebuilding doesn't happen overnight. Nobody picks up all the pieces in a single day, but it's not supposed to. What matters is that you stop believing in the myth of rescue, that fantasy where someone swoops in, understands all your pain, and fixes everything. Movies sell it, stories sell it, even our own minds sell it when we're desperate enough. But reality doesn't work that way. And maybe that's for the best, because if someone else could rebuild your life for you, then they'd also own the blueprint. They'd have the say in how it looks, what it means, where it goes. When you rebuild, you don't just repair what was lost, you design something new, something that fits who you are becoming. And that's where the freedom is. You get to choose what stays and what goes. You get to choose which walls to knock down and which ones to strengthen. You get to decide who has a place in this next version of your life and who doesn't. When you wait for others, you surrender that choice. But when you step up, when you claim responsibility, you also claim authorship. This is your story, your design, your run. And the beauty of it is that you don't need to have all the answers before you start. You just need to start. Think about a runner tying their shoes before a long run. They don't know every step they'll take. They don't know what they'll encounter on the path. They just know they're committed to moving forward. That's what rebuilding your life is. You don't need the whole map. You need the courage to move one step, and then another, and then another. Responsibility is not about having everything figured out. It's about refusing to sit in the waiting room of your own life any longer. The mistake people make is assuming responsibility means perfection. They think if it's their job to rebuild, then they can't afford to stumble. They can't afford to get tired. They can't afford to mess up. But that's not what responsibility means. Responsibility is about ownership, not flawless execution. It's about saying, even if I fall, I'm still in charge of getting back up. It's about saying, even if I fail 100 times, I'll keep swinging the hammer. I'll keep laying the bricks, because this is my house, my future, and no one else can do it for me. That's the kind of mindset that separates people who stay broken from people who rebuild stronger than before. Some will argue that life has been too unfair, that circumstances are too heavy, that it's easier said than done. And they're right, it is unfair, it is heavy, and it is harder done than said. But here's the question: if not you, then who? If not now, then when? The world isn't fair, but you don't rebuild because the world is fair. You rebuild because you deserve a life that reflects who you are, not just what you've been through. You rebuild because carrying the rubble of yesterday is heavier than lifting the bricks for tomorrow. You rebuild because no matter what's been taken from you, the ability to rise has not been taken. It's not about waiting for courage either. People think they need to feel brave before they take responsibility, but courage doesn't show up first. Responsibility does. Courage follows. The act of standing up, of saying, "This is mine to do," that creates the courage. Every time you take ownership, every time you decide to act instead of wait, you build strength. Little by little, day by day, step by step. And before you know it, you look back and realize the person who thought they couldn't do it is gone, replaced by someone who knows they can. Wake up to the truth. No one is coming. It's not a punishment, it's an invitation to step into the most powerful version of yourself, the one that doesn't rely on someone else to build, the one that knows freedom comes from responsibility, and responsibility is not a burden but the birthplace of power. Rebuilding starts with one decision, one step, one run toward the version of yourself you refuse to give up on. People often think change has to be massive, loud, and life-altering in an instant. They picture some dramatic turning point, a lightning strike moment when everything shifts and the whole world notices. But that's not how real rebuilding works. Real rebuilding is subtle, quiet, often invisible at first. It's hidden in the smallest choices you make when no one is watching. It begins in that single decision you make when you're tired, when you're scared, when you've already failed a dozen times before, but you choose to get up and try again. That decision is the foundation. That decision is the first brick in the wall. That decision is where you stop drifting and start building. One decision can feel insignificant, but it's not. Think about how a runner starts. They don't finish the race at the first stride, but they can't finish at all without it. The first step doesn't get you across the finish line, but it sets everything in motion. And once you're in motion, momentum starts to gather. That's what rebuilding is like. It's about refusing to stay down and taking that first, shaky, imperfect step. And once you take another, and then another. And with each one, you get closer to the version of yourself you've envisioned, the one you've dreamed of, the one you know deep down you are capable of becoming. The problem is most people get stuck waiting for certainty before they act. They think they need to see the whole staircase before they climb. They want to know every step of the run, every obstacle on the track, every possible outcome. But life doesn't give you that. Life only gives you the step right in front of you. And if you're too afraid to take it until you know everything, you'll never move at all. That's why rebuilding starts small. That's why it starts with one decision. You don't need the whole map. You just need to decide you're not staying where you are. You don't need to run the marathon today. You just need to take that first stride and commit to the next. Rebuilding is not about perfection. It's about progression. Every step counts. Every choice stacks. You may not see the results right away, but results were never meant to show up instantly. They are planted long before they are visible. When you make that decision to move, to act, to choose differently, you are planting seeds of change in the soil of your life. They won't sprout overnight, but they will sprout. And if you keep stepping, keep planting, keep running, you will look up one day and realize you've become someone you didn't think was possible. The version of yourself you refuse to give up on. That's important. Because rebuilding isn't just about moving away from the pain, the failure, or the disappointment. It's about moving toward something greater. If all you focus on is what you're running from, you'll burn out. Fear can get you started, but it won't sustain you. Hope, vision, belief, those are the things that fuel you long term. That future version of you, the one who is stronger, freer, more disciplined, more at peace, that version has to become real in your mind before it becomes real in your life. You have to see it, feel it, talk to it, fight for it. Because rebuilding isn't just construction, it's conviction. There will be setbacks. There will be days when the decision feels pointless, when the steps feel heavy, when the run feels endless. That's part of the process. You're not just rebuilding circumstances, you're rebuilding yourself. Every time you choose to keep going when it's hard, you're not only repairing the cracks of your life, you're reinforcing the foundation of who you are. Resilience is forged in those moments when you could quit but you don't. Strength is formed when you could hide but you stand. Character is built when you could give up but you choose to keep moving toward the version of yourself you will not abandon. It's easy to abandon yourself. It's easy to convince yourself that you're too broken, too late, too far gone. But easy is not the same as true. The truth is you are never too broken to rebuild, never too late to restart, never too far gone to take one step. That's why the power is in the decision, not the outcome. Because the decision says, I'm not done yet. The decision says, I will not betray myself. The decision says, even if the world has given up on me, I will not give up on me. That decision, repeated day after day, step after step, is what transforms you. Rebuilding is not glamorous most of the time. It looks like discipline when no one is watching. It looks like choosing what you need over what you want in the moment. It looks like saying no to distractions, no to destructive habits, no to the lies that whisper you can't change. And every time you say no to those, you are saying yes to yourself. You are saying yes to the life you're running toward. You are saying yes to the version of you that is waiting on the other side of consistency. And here's the truth about that version of you. You already know them. Deep down, you've seen glimpses of them in your best moments. The times you showed courage when you thought you had none. The times you were kind when it would have been easier to be cold. The times you stood up when no one else would. That version isn't some stranger you're chasing. That version is already inside you, waiting to be uncovered, waiting to be given room to grow. Rebuilding is simply the process of removing everything that's been keeping that version buried. So when you think about rebuilding, don't think about the 1,000 steps ahead. Don't think about the whole mountain. Think about one decision, one step, one run. That's how you move. That's how you build momentum. That's how you prove to yourself that you're not finished, that your story isn't over, that your best self is still possible. Because it is. It always is.